The lady at my door. Back when I lived in the rural Midwest, I lived in a house right off of the highway. My house was right between one town and another, almost right on the county line. Our house had a big circle driveway. If you drove in the driveway, you would be going straight towards our barn. If you curved right, you could pull into our garage. If you went past the garage, you could circle around, in front of the house, and pull back out to where you started. Our house had 2 large double doors in the front, which we rarely used. We always used the door that was inside the garage. One night, it was very late, my doorbell rang. My husband, my 3-year-old daughter, and I were all asleep. It woke me up, and I thought maybe I was dreaming. It rang again. I woke my husband up. He thought I was hearing things until it rang again. It was very dark outside, but we have a dusk to dawn light, so most of the driveway is pretty lit up. Unfortunately, you can't really see the front door unless you open the door and look out. You can open just one at a time, or you can open them both by using 2 latch-like things that are in the top and the bottom of one of the doors. My husband gets up and I follow him. He decides he is going to open the door. I want to call the cops, but because we live on the county line, we know it's going to be a while before they can get there. He opens the door to a girl, maybe early 20s. She looks normal except for the fact that she's standing at my door in the middle of the night. I look past her, and her car is pulled into my driveway just off of the road, not up to the house, not around the circle. She says she needs to use the phone. She says her car battery died, or something, she's not sure, but she can't get it to start. I told my husband no fucking way, this is how horror movies start, and we offered to call the cops. She asks over and over, but I am not letting her in. We tell her we will call, and she kind of stomps off. We watch her walk back to the car, maybe 50 feet away. I can see her car, I can see her. I call the cops. They say they will be there as soon as they can. About 15 minutes. They don't sound very concerned, and at this point, I'm not really either. I mean, it's just a girl. She probably does have a dead battery. She opens the trunk. No lights come on. She rummages around in the trunk. Then the driver's side door opens. Out steps a guy. Then the back passenger door opens. Out steps one more guy. They all rummage around the trunk. No lights on. I can't hear anything. I can't hear them talking, and I can't tell what they are doing. They all get back in the car. Now at this point maybe 5 minutes have gone by, and I am silently praying that the sheriff puts his foot on the gas and gets here quick, but I know it's going to be another 10 minutes or so. They just sit there, in the car, lights off, not moving. I can't see them when they are in the car, but I know they are in there. I know they didn't get out of the car and walk past the house, because they would have had to walk right under the dusk to dawn light. I would have seen them. I think I see the driver light a smoke. That part I'm not sure about. Then I see someone, walking towards the car from the right, coming from the direction of the barn. It's a man. I have no idea who this man is. We don't have a neighbor for at least a mile, and he's coming from the back of my property, which ends in a creek. He walks under the dusk to dawn light straight to the car. He doesn't look at the house, he just walks to the car and gets in the back. The car starts up and they slowly back out of my driveway and head north. The cops arrive about 10 minutes later, and at this point I am freaking out. They search around, but can't find anything. Ask us if we got a license plate, but they were parked too far away. Tell us to call if they come back. My husband goes and gets his shotgun from the shop, and we try to go back to sleep. They never came back. I don't know who those people were, and I don't know what they wanted. Clown in the woods? I'm from the UK, if that's any context. So way back in 2016, when the whole killer clown epidemic was huge, I was walking through the woods at around 10 p.m. alone in order to get to a party gathering that was happening in a secluded part of the forest. It was almost pitch black, and I could barely see in front of me besides the flash on my phone, and everything seemed normal as I was walking to the party. I got to a long stretch of woods with no defined path, but it was the quickest way to the party, so I took it. As I got around midway through, I heard something to my left. I turned and saw a shadowy figure sat on a fallen log. I was understandably unnerved, but I couldn't make out if it was just shadows from the moonlight, or if it was an actual person. I made the mistake of shining my phone light directly at it, and I was instantly terrified. Sat there, alone in the middle of the woods, was a largish man dressed as a clown with full face paint and sporting the creepiest smile imaginable. I tried to call 5 different people as I was passing him, and then I heard him get up behind me. I instantly started sprinting towards the end of the long stretch onto a path which had a barbed wire fence down the side of it. During the sprint I was pretending to be on the phone with one of my friends, and I could hear him running after me, but there was no chance in heck that I would be turning around to see if I was right. When I got to the path I jumped over the fence as fast as I could and sliced my hands open as I did so. I then turned around and kept running backwards as I saw the clown stood behind the fence just staring at me and smiling. I didn't stop running until I got to the party, and I was scared for a very long time after this. You have to bear in mind that there were so many rumors of people being killed by people dressed as clowns at the time, and while I will never know if the man had evil intentions or was just trying to scare me, it was extremely strange and scary to live through. So in conclusion, Killer Clown Man from the woods, let's not meet. Someone tried to break into my house and they knew my identity. What should I do? This all started a couple days ago, where I'd get a random call from FedEx around 10 p.m. where they would ask me for my name and address. I gave it to them thinking it might be a package that was lost and somehow found its way back to my home. Hindsight, I should have known FedEx doesn't deliver past 8 p.m. here in Canada. I thought nothing of it till I got another phone call saying they can't find my unit number and asked me to come out to the roundabout nearby my place. My dad thought it was weird, so he patrolled the area to find these people. My dad did around 4 laps. The first lap there wasn't anything there, but then I got curious and joined him for the second lap, yet again nothing. I went back into my home and my dad did a third lap around the house. He found a gray SUV in the corner and confronted them. They told my dad they aren't the delivery person, and my dad left to do another confirmation check. As he was doing this last lap, that same SUV wasn't there. The next day around 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. we hear a doorbell ringing, and I went down to check, and it was 2 individuals around the ages of 20. They knew my name and was calling out for me. I thought it was weird because I've never seen them before. I didn't feel safe, so I didn't pursue them. They kept coming over and over again, so we called the police and talked about what we should do. The cops told me to contact them if this happens again. The next day it was very quiet, and nothing weird happened, so we thought the worst has ended and just went on with my day. The next day it was the same quietness, but when the time approached 11 p.m. my security camera spotted an individual with a mask on taking photo video of my current house. This was the breaking point. We contacted the police and informed them about this weird behavior. Just when you thought it was over, I was casually in the living room around 3 a.m. the same day. I heard something thunking outside my balcony. I thought it could be anything and didn't mind it till it thunked again. I went to the balcony go see what I was hearing, then it clicked. I was face to face with the intruder. I started screaming for help and my family came down to check out the commotion. Thank God I checked the balcony that day. Who knows what else could have happened. Today is July 9th and I haven't got a wink of sleep in thinking of the terror that I faced. Am I one of the targets of a home invasion? How did they get my name? What do they want from me? Abandoned factory. This story takes place in the summer of 2023. Me and my friend were hanging out at her house, and we fell on a subject that is passionate for both of us: urbex. And as we were talking about that, she told me that there was an abandoned factory 30 minutes away from her house. 2 seconds is what it took for us to get our backpacks full of cigarettes, food and water. We then started walking. We took some 5-minute breaks from time to time and continued our path. Arrived here, we were absolutely in love with the creepiness and the absence of life in this place. Let me introduce you the 4 buildings. It will help you understand the rest of the story. First building, locked. No more information, probably somewhere to stock wood and metal. Second building, a big factory. It was the biggest building in the 4. There is 3 floors. A basement, a working space, and the eating place at the highest floor. Third building, a structure of wood to contain all the machines, etc. And finally, fourth building. A small gas station where there was keys of other rooms. There was 2 floors, but we didn't go to the second one for a reason that you will see further in the story. Okay, so we enter in the big factory, the second building. At first, we were getting shivers. But as time passed, we got more and more comfortable with the place we were in. Then comes the moment. We had to do it. We were so curious. We stood in front of the door and opened it. There we were, in the basement. As we advanced in the room, we arrived to a small office. There was fresh coffee in a cup. We didn't think much of it first. Maybe people like us came here. We didn't have the time to make any theories that we heard something. A clown horn. We looked at each other and laughed nervously. We thought that one of us stepped on a toy or any other thing. But again, a clown horn yelled right behind us, before we heard a cynical and traumatizing laugh. We ran to the door and left outside as fast as we could. We then stood there, outside, scared. At this point, we didn't believe what was happening, so we laughed it off with another sip of our beers. Now we went back. Yes, stupid idea, I know. But don't worry, we didn't stay there even 5 minutes. That we saw in hand open the same basement door. And that was it, we ran back home. I never ran so fast in my entire life. But I think there is a small detail that will make you understand how bad it could have really been. 1 hour later, we were going to the restaurant as we heard gunshots. At the exact position of where the factory was. That night, we didn't sleep at all, and to this day, I never went back into this city.